What's going on, everyone? So welcome to episode 2 of Building Content Systems, which is going to be a front-to-end operating system for content creative and video agencies. So if you guys haven't watched episode 1, go back and watch it. I'm going to maybe put it up somewhere around here. And pretty much that episode was kind of just introducing the first core pillar that we are creating, which is the onboarding system. Okay, now on this call, basically in the first call, we're just like kind of mapping everything out, almost just like a brain dump. Now in this call, we're going to showcase what that brain dump transformed into. So let's get into it. Govin, let's start.
Yeah, going back to like what's being done right now in the specific onboarding process, right? So in the main like actual value out of the onboarding, what we had was, okay, the client fills out the onboarding form. The onboarding form information is then taken, and end result is we have an ICP blueprint that's created, we have a content blueprint that's created automatically, and that can be reviewed. So that was like the end result we want, but how we'd actually want it to look and just feel and just be very good in terms of practicality, use case, and just like visually professional as well, is what I was working on. So how the blueprints would be created is firstly just the custom agent or assistant that we've made. So we're using OpenAI's API assistance API to do this, and the backend is trained. So first one today was just like training the backend for these two. Like one is the ICP. I'll actually show you guys visually. I'll show you visually so that I can just talk over it as well. I've got so many tabs, I don't even know. Right, this one. So basically this part is just the form submission, right? And then this is when we have like the end result, like we have the end sort of thing created. So what we wanted was taking the information and then creating the form. And then we wanted the AI to do it. So this, for example, is the ICP blueprint crafter, which is what we've trained. But the main thing that I was working on is like firstly fine-tuning it and getting it to perform consistent results. And secondly, how we actually deliver that. So what I'd been working on for a long time today was actually creating this this like blueprint template doc, so that essentially this is how it looks like, and it automatically fills, what the fuck did I do? Yeah, it automatically fills this doc, and it's got like our logo and stuff. It automatically fills this doc with like these specific things into it just automatically through the tags. But although that seems simple enough, it's because all of these, how it actually happens is all of these, the things in the curly brackets are how you actually make a Google Doc from a template. Is like, if that's the template and I want to fill the variables from that, is I just create tags by putting the curly things over there. But the thing is, this is how it looks like in the input side of things, right? So you have like, I'll show you, you've got the client name, the ICP statement, the ICP demographics, like everything that I added as like a curly bracket is like information, is variables that I can fill in, right? But the issue with that was the output that we're getting from this, from our blueprint crafter, is just a whole bunch of text. So how do I separate that into different things? How do I structure the output? So what I did a lot of research on today and just like went deep into is this thing. So like OpenAI introduced like structured outputs. So just to like cut a long story short, is basically this allows us to structure the outputs into separate fields by using something called JSON. That's all I know. I mean, I know a bit more because of the research that I did today, but essentially it's just like a way in the code in which we define the structure of the data that we want in terms of the output. And earlier, like this actually is like a pretty big deal, and it's actually pretty recent in terms of OpenAI's development, right? Because I was just researching on it, I was like, this should be a pretty straightforward solution, but this just released like 4 weeks back, so it's actually good. And it says outputs scores a perfect 100% in terms of the structure, and this is what it is right now. And just like few months ago it was like that or something like that, right? So it's just right now that we're able to do that, in which we get 100% accurate output. So what that does is like we can just predefine the fields that we want, and it'll give us just those outputs, and then we can map them in whatever way we want. How that kind of looks like on the back end is basically, if you take a look at this is like my whole chat today with ChatGPT, in which I just like covered and like went through iteration after iteration of like it getting the actual correct JSON schema or whatever it's called, which is the instruction that we give ChatGPT on how to actually output everything, right? So this is how it
Gotcha.
looks.
So to kind of to break this down, it's essentially like the information that we already had
Yeah.
was the information that was needed. The problem with the information, though, that GPT was just spitting out just a whole bunch of text, and it wasn't very organized.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially what we're doing right now is we're structuring it for it to be a lot more organized in that Google Doc. So when somebody does get onboarded, whether it's a COO, whether it's the actual owner of the agency, they just look at that doc and all the information is very neatly organized. They take that information and begin the actual scripting process, ideation process, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, essentially, it's what allows us to go from just having like it's what allows us to actually use the data that ChatGPT is creating, because otherwise it's just like data over here, right, in my make.com module. But if I want to use it somewhere, so from the front end, what it looks like is earlier us just having this like random text of data over here, to now being able to, I'll actually show you an example. So what I did was I just did like a sample onboarding. I just did this like random thing like fit kits, and I just like asked Claude to come up with the answers. There's just like a fitness thing for kids, something like that. And what it resulted in creation was like it'll just run through the process. And I'll actually just like finish the backend, because it's just us documenting the whole process. So it's like it's even for me to look back and just see, okay, what we did, because I can then correct it. But essentially, this is the end result. Like this is the schema which tells it, okay, I need these fields. I need the ICP statement, the demographics, the psychographics, the current situation. Like I need all of this in the format that I defined for you to put the output in, so that I can use these individual fields to then map them to the Google Docs fields which are here. So I can then map them individually within that, which are the tags over there. So what that now results in is us having something like, where is it? This, right? So this is what you'd get. Like they just get sent this link, ICP blueprint document fit kits, and in-depth analysis report of the ideal client persona, ICP brief, so the whole ICP statement, the demographics, the psychographics, the challenges, and then creating the transformation, the current situation, the desired situation, the transformational beliefs. And this right now, like this, I was just getting the structure right now in. This will be much more detailed as well, like much more thorough, right? Right now I just wanted the structure and getting the skeleton of being able to pull in the data. But now like in the next step, we'll just like add, like right now you just see like one search term, but like we'll have the ability to like have 10 of those emotional trigger sample ICP. So like you see like how we have like a very prepared, and then we can just like design this however we want. Like we can change the thing that's changing is this template, right? So however we change this template will result in the change in the final thing, so in the final output. So that's what it now allows us to have, like these final documents which are like fully professional, which can be presented to the clients, which can be hello.
Go wind. I think you're frozen.
Hello.
There you go. All right. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know, my internet is like the one over here shut off. But what could you hear last?
I think we were just going over the sheet, basically, like the sample
Yeah.
ICP. Let's go
Yeah.
from the sample ICP. Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially like what I was just saying, like I don't even remember properly now, but basically end result it allows us to do is like client fills in onboarding form, and you have this like fully professional, well laid out ICP analysis which is conducted by AI and then presented in this professional format, in which you just have the end result and you can just present it to the client. You can have that as an internal store for your internal team and everything, and then just like have the whole thing set up, and the whole theme, the whole structure, we can just, like as I was saying, change like this template, like the colors, the font, anything we want over here, and then just do it. So imagine like a client comes on board, like in the setup process, we can actually set them up for their logos, for their theme, and like add their logo over here instead. So like we probably still have the powered by content systems, but like obviously if they're paying for it, we can remove it. But yeah, just like branded according to their brand. So like their ICP documents are custom to their agency, and it's just like overall, if you think about this thesis, like right now we're just doing it for content agencies, but any form of service-based business has an onboarding / information collection plus reporting on that, by setting the initial roadmap and having a report of that initial roadmap sent to the client. This like two-step framework is there for every sort of agency service-based business. So usually it takes like a long time depending on the service, like from days to weeks. That whole thing can just be like pretty much automated, and yeah, that's kind of the end result. Give me your thoughts on that, and then I'll go over like how the whole process, like how
No, I think
it
this
works.
is fantastic. I think it's because previously what we had before, because we already had this already set up, but it was just all transferred and all sent to like that Slack message. I was very unorganized, like, just very like, a lot of clutter. But
Yeah.
what this does is it organizes it. But I also want to talk about like the importance of this, right? Because this all looks cool. This is amazing. But what is the importance of this? Well, the importance of this is like, guys, right when somebody fills out their onboarding form, like right after they pay, you're getting access to all this information that you can then leverage and be proactive with your clients. So you can then deliver them something within like literally 24, 48, 72 hours, deliver them something, whether that's video ideas, a visual branding guide, whatever it is, and set the expectation that like, wow, okay, I just paid 24 hours ago, 40 hours ago, and I already have this whole custom game plan. And it really
Yeah.
didn't take much work, right? Because we're leveraging AI. Because the thing is, a big problem content agencies have going, and I'm sure you know this as well. It's like, dude, a client will pay, and then dude, the client gets nothing until like a week or two, right?
Yeah.
And it's because, well, they haven't hopped on an onboarding call yet. So the thing is, you don't need to get all this information to be in an onboarding call. You already have all this information. So you're presenting it to them before you even have the onboarding call.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is getting them a quick win right away. Set the expectation. I'm telling you, that goes a long way when it comes down to like the actual LTV of the client. Like, first impressions are everything in this. So no, I think this is great. This is and then what we can do, we'll have the GHL SaaS model. If they want to change powered by content systems, they got to pay the extra fee and get their logo on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just like that's what happens if you add enough value. Like if you want people to change a logo, you charge them. But yeah, we'll get there slowly. But either way, like anyways, I think the core of what you said is what matters, right? Like with all showing them the actual result, and I kind of want to go into like how the basics of how it works, because that'll actually give you context and allow you to come up with ideas, and like probably like a second person's thoughts, ideas, and alternate way of thinking would be valuable, because I've just been too into the process. I need like a bird's eye view, and I also need like fresh thoughts probably, and I'll have them maybe after a night's sleep.
Yeah.
But essentially how this works is like, this gets the onboarding form, right? So like whenever I'll tell you, like, so
Are
this
you showing your screen? No, you're not showing your screen.
yeah, I mean, I thought I was, and now I will be. So yeah, got it. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
So how it works is over here in this basically watches for like whenever new tasks are created, and it's connected to the client dashboard, right? So this is a new task is created whenever an onboarding form is filled, because how ClickUp works is like the fields over here are just the same fields that are there on the onboarding form, and that's what allows for the form to be filled, right? And then it populates as a task over here. So after that, this just essentially gets the task. So like it gets more information about the task. It basically gets all of the custom fields, which are the form answers. And this is just like a set variable thing, which is like allows us to get like all of the answers in like one structured format. What happens after that? This is cool. So this is where we can like get more ideas, because if I tell you like, oh, this is how it works, and then you can have any thought or idea that we can just plug in over here, right? So we're using Perplexity over here. So Perplexity actually is like it's like AI with the internet, right? Like it just you can use web surfing with the API on this, and then have it like come up with certain things. So how it would connect, like this is how I would think, and this is how we need to think about, is like what the onboarding form questions will determine what obviously the answers are and the information that we collect, which will then determine the things that we can utilize in those answers to do further research on, for example, with Perplexity. So if we reverse engineer it, we can think of it from this way as to like, what information does Perplexity need to do a much more in-depth research and analysis, considering that it has access to all of the internet, so that it can do a much more in-depth, deeper level analysis about the ICP. What does it require to be able to do that, and for us to allow and leverage all of its power, and then we use that as the question in the onboarding form. So what we have, you saying something?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So what we have right now is this is just like the system prompt. So you're an ICP research expert, things like that. What I've just like, I was just testing it out. So what I've just done is like a very basic thing. So a new onboarding form has been submitted. Please conduct research on the ICP on the following pain points related to the offer, desires related to the offer, current situation, desired situation, things like that. And then it has access to all of the onboarding form answers, which is like all of this, right? So it's like all of the answers, right? There's multiple ways in which we can leverage that further, right? Like there's like so many mental models. Like what we can probably do is, let's say it was just using that fit kids example, right? Let's say we, as an end result, we ask it to come up with the 10 most common asked questions on different forums or Reddits by that ICP. So, but how do we get it to ask that? We probably go and ask, we probably go and tell it, okay, go and search this plus Reddit and figure out like whatever people are searching on the internet about it, to basically get an analysis of what's the biggest pain point for this. Like that's just one example, right? But there's like tons of different examples. And the way I think about it is like, if I actually had hired a person whose whole job was just to do this 24/7 without eating, sleeping, or getting sick or doing anything like that, and without just even getting paid, so how would I tell them to just like do this, right? Like how would I tell them to do this research? So that's what I want to replicate over here. So that's like sort of the way I would think about it.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing, right? It's just like how the thing is with like AI and what we're trying to do right here with what you're currently doing, there's really no limitations in a sense, right? Like this person can work 24 hours, does not get sick, provide the best quality, does not get tired, does not get brain fog.
Yeah.
Does not care how much they get paid. There's no limitation to this, but we get maximum output.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, which is so leveraged, right? So, yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, so that's probably one thing I think about, and what we can think about, and just have some room for thought. So what this does is like, then this passes the information onto this one. So this is the whole blueprint system that I was talking about that we created with the whole like structured output thing. So what this does is it tells it, okay, new onboarding form has been submitted. You'll be provided the onboarding form submission along with research conducted on the ICP. Please leverage all the information to create a very detailed and comprehensive ICP. So this, like people talk about like prompt engineering, like this, bear in mind, this is not the prompt, like the whole custom instructions are already like given on the back and like it's already trained. Like this is essentially the whole prompt. Like this is probably just part of it. But along with like this structured output over here.
Which I also want to look at that as well. What information did you feed it? Or like where did you get the information to feed it?
Right. So I have like a very, like I did like research on how prompting is actually done to whatever knowledge I have, and created like a custom instruction on how to create custom instructions, if that makes sense. So I was before this, like I was working on like an agent which creates agents in a way, and the custom instructions for it were like massive. Like if I just I don't know if I can find it over here, but either way, right? So it's I think it's here. So if you take a look at the custom instructions over here, this is essentially how I format it, right? So first I give it like the role, like what's the role, then I give it the task, like how it needs to do something, then I give it the specific, and each of these utilizes like a specific prompting technique. So this uses like a chain of thought prompting technique, which is like step by step. So like the end result of one thing leads to the starting point of the other. And then emotional prompt, this is just giving it specifics, then context, then examples, and then just like this. So like this is like the whole prompt. Like this is like massive because it has like so many examples as well. But essentially everything is just created by using AI. So like I think the thing is, the main thing I would say is like you need to figure out is like how this actually works and how you can like make it fundamental enough to replicate how it works. And once you do that, then like once I had this, I just use this part to actually for it to generate examples of the same, right? And then it generated like 10 examples. I added all of them, and then the same thing is what I used for this, which is the ICP blueprint crafter. Like the format is the same. So giving it the prompt first, then the task. Like okay, you take the information received in the onboarding form, then you do the ICP analysis. Then I gave it the whole structure.
Gotcha.
So whole structure, and then just some examples. So yeah, coming back to this, right? So then it just like has, here's the onboarding form submission. So it just has like all of this, all of the answers from the onboarding form. And then it also has the conducted research done by Perplexity, and then some like additional notes over here. And then again, like I just gave it the same JSON structure that I defined over there, just to like make sure it gives the right structured output. This just gives the output in like the JSON format, which allows us to extract the data, and then this just allows us to parse the whole data within, like this is what allows us to get these like separate fields. And then yeah, this is just like all of this is just structuring the data essentially, and then this just plugs it back into Google Docs. So now the next step is just, today was just like figuring all of this out, but now that we have the whole structure in, like now is when we can just like play around with stuff. Like now is what I can just do the easy stuff, like play around with like the prompts, like okay, change this prompt a bit over here, change the Perplexity thing over here to like see okay how we can improve the output. But we have the structure and the skeleton of the output, so now it's just like okay, we do this, we do that, improve it, make it better, things 100%. Like that.
Yeah, after this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to record a Loom. I'm going to go through the actual whole process to see how in depth I can get, also to see like what answers do the clients, like how in depth do the clients need to go with their answers in order to get like the best results possible, obviously, with the whole analysis and the whole blueprint. That's also why we have to get very calculated with our onboarding questions. But I think the ones that I provided, the ones that I kind of just re-engineered, the ones you had, I think those are good enough. But I want to test that. So yeah, like you said, we have the skeleton, great, and this is literally only like a piece of the pie in a sense, which I think it's just so phenomenal. But like yeah, I'm gonna go through it today, and then I'll send you a Loom video. Maybe even we'll include the Loom video into this actual video to show you guys what the whole process actually really looks like. But cool. I think we're pretty much done with this make automation. I think we should go to
I just want to show you like
is there anything else?
Yeah, because the content blueprint thing. So what I did over here with the doc creation, I'm just going to do like the structured output thing, like this whole, like these steps with that as well. It was what I'm going to work on tomorrow. But now that I've figured it out, it's going to be a much quicker process. It's just going to replicate, and then the Google Doc creation. But I want to show you the example of the output and like just the quality of the output, and not to say that it's good or bad, but just what it is, and then like ways that you think that we can improve it. Because now that you can just go through the whole process, you can see, okay, this is what we need. Like I think reverse engineering everything is the best way. Like figuring out, okay, this is oh, we want the content pillars, we want the subtopics. Let's also add whatever. Let's also add like content ideas. Let's also add like an editing brief, like whatever it is. Okay, then how do we add it? Okay, if we want to add it, we probably need some research on it, or we need some knowledge base. Do we provide the knowledge base? Does the client provide the knowledge base? If the client provides the knowledge base, we probably need it in onboarding form. So like we just kind of track back from it. But I think now that you will see the process, I just want like your expert opinion on like things that we can do to improve it, right? Like skin it up.
I think this is where the whole implementation side of this offer really comes into power, right? Because each person has a different ICP.
Yeah.
So for example, if you ask a dentist to go in into depth about the whole editing, the whole branding guides, blah 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 blah, they're probably not going to do that. They don't have time for that. They're just like, dude, I just want content.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's a bit different, right? If you're targeting like a big coach, big online coach, or somebody big, in the online space,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, but I think in general, what we do is we do create, and this is what we're saying, there's very precise questions that we can ask. I think one of the biggest things is like make sure to link the Instagrams or the YouTube accounts of the competitors or people that you look up to.
Yeah.
Right. So we can feed that information to the AI agent.
Yeah.
Also, the question under that, what do you like and dislike about each one of those brands? Feed that as well.
Yeah.
And the last question, what would the last question be? I had it on the top of my head. The last question would be, honestly, I forgot. But besides the point, we have those two questions, but we feed the AI agent the actual SOPs that we have that goes into like creating brand guides, creating just like the editing style, the SOP for that, in a sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I
So
think we can do that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think the thing is like this will already create that, but then again, like as you said, like the level of depth would vary depending on the ICP.
Yeah.
And that's just like something we'd factor in. So I think what I want to do right now is I just want to show you the content blueprint output, because right now it's just on Slack, but I just want you to see what it is.
Yeah.
And I think what we need is like we probably need to set up like just like our Slack for like testing everything, so that you have access to everything as well. So I think that could probably be a quick action step for today, just like setting up Slack, or like just like a Slack channel or an account where we can just set up the tests
Sure.
and stuff. And eventually, like, which is going to be a big step, is like right now, obviously we're just building stuff and things like that, but we want to eventually obviously move all of this to the company make account and the company OpenAI account and the company so and so account, because I'm thinking when we want to actually implement that, we would, let's say the OpenAI stuff is built on our end, like we have it, so we'd obviously charge them the billing amount, right? But we need to track it properly, and then there's separate ways of like tracking the projects and things like that. So long story short, like we just need like transfers of everything to like the company accounts, like the content systems accounts. But it's not something immediate, but like it's just something that I popped in my head. But just with this this onboarding form, I'll show you the onboarding response as well, actually, for the Fit Kids one. This is like the whole thing. It's not in the correct order. Like what we can probably do is like we can just do like a live run with you right now.
So those are the answers that you provided.
Yeah, that's like how I filled out the onboarding form.
Yeah.
And then this is like this is the content blueprint that it created, right? So it's going to be, this is the one, right? So
I think it'd be great as well if maybe not on this call, but on the next call, maybe even a Loom video that we can include into this, is the whole process from when they sign, like literally, even if we have to create like a mock contract, whatever contract, so they can see the onboarding, what the onboarding form looks like, the welcome emails, automations.
Yeah.
So they can just see the whole process. But yeah, go ahead. Let's dive into the content blueprint.
Yeah, just before I forget, like, can you like, I'm sure you have like a contract blueprint, because I think that will be part of like the deliverables and like the templates and SOPs that we're giving. So like if you could just send that over to me, or like somehow or like create like a content systems account for e-signet, like whatever it is, so that I just have it there, and then I can just use that to plug in everything and I actually have it housed over there, because right now it's just like placeholders that we have. But this is what I created, right? So video content blueprint, Fit Kids formats, long form content, so educational content, understanding kids fitness, why it matters, so why structured fitness is essential. So basically it just gives it with different sections. So educational content, client success stories, um, what from couch potatoes to fitness enthusiasts, the Johnson family story. So it just gives examples, um, behind the scenes, industry trends, interactive content. Then it does the same for short form. So I think some of it is actually pretty good. Um, the testimonials are just like examples probably because they would depend on their testimonials. Maybe we can have like a testimonial question or like a past results question in the onboarding form, which can then allow us to then leverage their specific
Yeah.
results.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be more custom. So I think that's actually a good value add. Like if we can, I think just note that down as well. I think that'll actually probably be pretty good. Like let me actually put that down somewhere. Because then like
So you're saying in a sense like almost like a question. It's like give an example of your biggest case study. Like give the example and then we can create like a whole kind of outline of that.
yeah, but I just like yeah. My thoughts like usually just like just sometimes just go too quick as well. Like now I'm thinking of this the problems with that. Like some of these guys might just link like a YouTube video or they might link like a whatever, right? So even though we can scrape it, but then we probably need like variables. We probably need like if answer has YouTube, then this, and then if it has website, then this, and then like
Yeah.
scrape it. But like or like what we can just do is like make it like a website field wherein they have to provide like a document or like whatever which has their case studies, because then it'll allow us to create the ICP blueprint just with their custom stuff. So like let's say if you were filling out the onboarding form, you can just have like us link to you can put in the link to, let's say, either your YouTube playlist of your case studies or like a website page of your case studies, and then it can just go through all of those case studies and be like, okay,
Yeah.
Pedro went from this to this, Hamza went from this to this, and then use that in the content examples rather. So then when they actually deliver it to the clients, they'll be like, okay, this guy actually went through all of my videos that quick, plus made the whole ICP blueprint. That's crazy. So
100%. Yeah.
that can be cool. So let me actually add that to the steps.
Yeah, that would be very powerful.
But yeah, I'm probably not going to do this like just like V1, because then I'm just going to get stuck in just like the onboarding process and like never complete it, because like we can perfect it forever. But yeah, probably like do it like V2.
100%. This is why
yeah.
we have to move forward with the fulfillment. Right now,
Yeah.
as value add, what we have to do is just go through it a few times. Like I'll go through it today. Any feedback I have, I think really need like 1 or 2 loops of feedback, and then we
Yeah.
should completely move forward into the fulfillment. Which the fulfillment low key is not. The fulfillment is already kind of done. It's just more of like the back end fulfillment, whereas like the reporting, just like the tracking, linking everything up together, because we already have
Yeah.
the boards pretty much already set.
Yeah, just like packaging together so that we can deliver it. But yeah, so coming back to this, so like behind the scenes, whatever industry trends, so like shocking effects of screen time on kids' health. So that's actually like a good like short form video. Like obviously these are just ideas, and then like how we connect it to the scripting is another thing, right? But then it's the core pillars and subtopics. So kids fitness fundamentals. This is the core pillar, 10 subtopics. Core pillar, 10 subtopics. Core pillar 10. So like all of that. Then the brand strategy elements for video content, visual identity. Use bright engaging colors with dynamic animation that appeal to children. Include fitness themed icons and playful animations. Consistent lower third design featuring playful child friendly fonts and fit kids logo. I mean, some of this like probably the logo stuff can be removed, but then it gives you the proper colors with like the emojis and everything as well. And then the overall like brand value vibe. What we can also do is like with OpenAI, we can probably have like an upload image thing where they can upload their logo or whatever, and then it can base it off that and then like understand the image.
Like just like any brand assets, I think would be very important as well.
Yeah,
Logo,
so
et cetera, et cetera.
I'll add that as well. Brand assets.
So this is something that definitely does not need to be included. This is just like straight luxury. This is no fundamentals. But because obviously like how you come up with like the movie bureau, like I'm sure you've seen like the, I don't know what's his name, Daniel Dalen or Damon Daniel.
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
yeah. Daniel,
Um,
yeah.
If you're watching this for some reason, I'm sorry I butchered your name. But, you know, obviously his B-roll is all movie stuff or his personal stuff, right? Just like,
Yeah.
so in the content blueprint, just imagine this as well. And again, this is like, it's just me just saying shit at this point. But the actual ChatGPT blueprint, the content blueprint, what will happen is it will come up with movies that you can utilize as B-rolls, the exact scenes. And then you just go to the website where they provide the action movies, where I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just even more value to provide to the action. That's more internal. That's not really for the actual client. That's just more internal. So your editor's already like, boom, this is it. This is the assets we need. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not a necessity at all. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
I think probably a way to convert that into like a robust feature, maybe more so, would be like, yeah, take the thesis of it is to like incorporate like visual elements and like specifics of what you can add for the internal like editor resource. Maybe we create like another internal document later down the line. Like there's the content blueprint, there's this, and then probably like an internal like visual guide, which we use as well. Because the movie thing is like a trend right now, probably 3 months down the line, it's probably going to die off. So like to build a feature just of the
100%.
movie, maybe, I don't know, but like, yeah, with the thesis of like having like some visual elements, whether it's movies or it's like something else or whatever it may be at that point of time, with an internal doc could actually be pretty good.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But yeah, so then it just gives like all of that, and like, yeah, just like imagine that in the Google Doc format as well, and you have all of that. I think it'll be pretty sick. But
Cool. Let's
yeah.
go over it now. Now let's go over the overview of the actual onboarding, right? So we went over that. So let's go over the one that we went over the call today, where it's basically e-signatures, Slack, and then the client success boards that you demonstrated that we already have built out.
Yeah.
And then we'll conclude the call. We're already at 45 minutes. Yeah, let's go over that, and then we'll go over the action steps that we need to do for our next one.
Yeah, so this is pretty simple. Essentially how it works is like we get the contract signed by the client. This just like parses the text. We get like an internal team message which just says, okay, we signed a new client name. The client channel is created. Then we just invite the team to the client channel. The client onboarding message is created, which is pretty sick, like which is like we just use like bro, I feel like a developer even though I have nothing to do with code at all, like zero knowledge. But either way, like we just use this thing, like I think it's called like blocks or whatever, which just makes it look good. Client internal team channel is created, so like we have like like a client facing channel and an internal team channel for all of the clients. The team is invited, the internal instructions are added. This is going to be like specific to, it's just the structure, but we're probably going to make it broader. Like this is what I had built for myself because that's what I needed, but we're probably going to make it like broader. Google Drive folder is created. What we're probably going to do is we're going to connect this. So like the Google Docs that are created over here, they're probably going to be housed in the Google Drive folder. And this is like just variances into how I would think about things as well. Since this automation occurs before, because this is instant and this occurs after, we need a way to store the folder ID. So like what I'd probably do is like when this is done, I just store the folder ID along with the client, and then when this is done, I put this in that same folder ID so that everything is just organized. But either way, then like an onboarding email is sent, so that just like gets the client sort of like instantly onboarded, like the first steps, and then would lead into the second part, which is triggered from when they actually fill out the onboarding form.
Boom. Beautiful. So the first pretty much the first trigger is e-signatures. The second signature is the onboarding form.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go through all of this today. Literally just build it out for myself in a sense, have it all in one space, and then go through it as the client view to see what it looks like, because I also want to see what it looks like from the client side of things.
Yeah.
From another perspective, to see it's like, oh, is this too overwhelming? Like boom, boom, boom. Because from the client perspective, it's very simple. Onboard, fill out form, book a call. That's it. Join Slack, right? That's very simple. And on the internal side, we also want to make that very simple as well. So yeah, I'm going to go through all that today.
Yeah, sounds good. how will you go through that? Because like right now the automations are in the back. So like how do you like what do you plan to do? Because then I'll set it up for you so
Yeah.
that
So basically, what I want you to do is I want you to send me the JSON. Is that what it is for the make? Is the or is it JSON? What's the file for the actual make
yeah.
automation?
No, it's JSON, but it's already set up, right? So like if you were to do like it'd just be very complex for you to duplicate and then just like connect everything right now because it's already set up. Like we don't need to do it again. What I'd rather probably have is like for you. What I can do is let me just actually invite you to the Slack channel so that you see everything, where it's happening.
What I'm gonna do, you know what? I'm just gonna create our the own individual Slack channel so we can host everything there.
Yeah, I just invited
Alright.
you for today because then like you can see it because it's
Okay.
already connected right now. Let me actually just quickly share screen and tell you how it will work. If everything is turned on and unless like something hits a billing limit, this is how it should work. So you already have access
Oh,
to the
okay. Let me see.
ClickUp template form, like the ClickUp folder, sorry. Um, Essentially what you can just do is you would fill out, where is it? This form. Um, right, you fill that form out. um, what that'll do is that'll like kick off
Add
this.
could you add the questions that I did, or would that require a little bit of change on the actual automation side of things?
Yeah, it requires some like structural changes, but it's not like something too big, but I'll get it done like tomorrow. um, and then like throughout that whole process, because then I'll do it for this as well. But you can just like test out like the basics of it, but right now you probably won't get the full output. um, Yeah, what I think would make sense is like just as soon as actually tomorrow is actually to just make our make.com account because you already know how to obviously
Yeah.
see it, and then you can actually see the outputs that it's coming up with as well on the back end, because then whatever sometimes what's on the back end isn't fully ready to be on the front end, but you can actually see at least what's being done, right?
Yeah. 100%. All right.
So,
Cool. Yeah,
so I
we'll do
think
that then.
yeah, action steps will be just to get make account tomorrow, before tomorrow actually, like so that I can just like move it over there as soon as today, and then Slack, and then from my side, and then also the contract that we talked. Let me actually add it to Notions before we forget.
Yeah. Let's add all these action steps. So I guess for the viewers, if you guys are still watching this, if you're this deep into it, first of all, you're a beast. Also, if you want us to build all this out for you, let us know. Anyways, yeah. So episode 2 was pretty much just seeing the actual visual, pretty much like what because we visualized that everything on the first episode, and the second episode, which is this episode, is actually building out the first iteration of what we essentially brainstormed. So episode 3 is where we're gonna have, hopefully, you and I, Govind, will have everything very structured, very finalized. So we'll be done with the onboarding process, and then we can move on to the next iteration. Because right now, what the current situation is the whole agency right now is ran on ClickUp, but not to the extent that we're trying to build right now. So right now, essentially, what we have is we have all of these different systems, automations, AI agents built around. But now the goal is like, how can we integrate this and pack this all and organize it into one thing that we can then, build out for other agencies, who are, of course, trying to scale. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we
So
wrote the action steps.
I just wrote down like the specific things, but like the overall action step for me tomorrow is like just to be able to like see the onboarding process roll out, and then how it then translates or transitions into the fulfillment, and then probably like tomorrow just like I think maybe like a separate discussion, I don't know, tomorrow or Saturday, but like if you have the time, then just like discuss the actual like broader business side of things on this, like how is it actually delivered, what's the offer, how is it packaged, because now that we're
Yeah.
gaining clarity as to like what's the complexity level and things like that, I think those discussions make more sense now as to like how we actually
Agreed.
monetize it or like just
Yeah.
deliver.
Like I was saying, I think we definitely have like the information side of it. We have the first ascension, which is like the foundation, which is pretty much like what I already have right now. Like just like
Yeah.
the foundation of what we built. Because that system is perfect for anyone doing like 0 to like 30K.
Yeah.
Right. But for the agencies who are at a higher scale, that's when we go for the full implementation offer, where it's like a lot more customized. And obviously that is the highest ticket. But yeah, let's definitely talk about that, because now we do have a better idea of what this looks like. And you also got feedback from the call inside of the group, right? You obviously see how much of a need this shit is.
Yeah.
But also how complex it can actually be, though, because that's so these are, because right now we have editor labs as well.
Yeah.
Training the editors, placing the editors. But dude, other two hires are like CEOs, not CEOs, COOs, just like operation people, to actually manage the system, the infrastructure, and also QCs, quality control people, which can technically be like the same role for smaller agencies.
Yeah.
But those are also two things that we can focus on in the future.
Yeah.
We supply all that, dude. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beast.
Yeah, exactly. Because even like I'll probably get into this tomorrow, or I think it's better we get into it tomorrow. But like I was just thinking of the structure of what we're delivering right now, and the parts of it, like divided into like info, infrastructure, talent, consultancy, and then like how we have like we're adding like 3 out of 4 of those new things now, and that just had so much value. But yeah, either way, like I think it'll be better to just like keep it as a separate discussion.
100%. All right, cool. So I'm gonna make accounts for make.com, OpenAI. I think for Slack we can just keep it with the same channel that we have, right?
Yeah.
And so all right, make accounts for Make, OpenAI. What else? E-signatures, I guess.
Yeah, and for Make, you need like you need to upgrade it, so you can just add it as well to the tracker sheet as well. And then
Cool.
for OpenAI as well, like we need like the plus account, but then we'd also need like to add some credits to the API as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's also another thing. Like, how are we going to fulfill this in a sense? Because like obviously, if a client has to do all this stuff, it's too much friction.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
okay, cool. We'll talk.
those are the whole thoughts that I was going through today as well. So like that's like another thing. But yeah, I had like potential ideas for it, which I think is kind of what we discussed.
Are we able to host our own AI, or is that like a whole different game? Because I do know people who do that essentially. Well,
What
no,
do you
not
mean?
really. Never mind.
What do you
never
mean
mind.
by host or AI?
Never mind. Different.
Yeah, but we'll have essentially like if that's what you're asking, but like we'll have it on our back end, and then like that's why like a recurring charge will be there. But yeah, there's like I have like few ideas for that, and then I think it's similar to what you were talking about. So I think we'll be like on the same page on that, but like we'll probably discover that tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's it for episode 2, guys. If you're watching this, I appreciate you guys watching the journey, and it's gonna be very exciting to see what the actual final product is. Which, Govind, I think what we need to have next call is the timeline for releasing, which for me was October 1st. So should still be the game plan to release the first MVP, the first iteration of content systems. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.